Radio
with the hottest radio station, Mack Type Radio, Ready to Learn Show. Yours truly, Mack Joker, and it's about to go down. We got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know who you are and what do you do.
Yo, this is Mike C-Roc. My friends call me C-Roc. Last name's Ciorrocco. I'm a performance coach. First of all, I'm an animal. Just so everybody knows, I'm a wild animal, but I'm a performance coach, speaker, tech co-founder, best-selling author. I do podcasting. I do all kinds of stuff. I could go on and on and on, but I'm here to rock and light things up, man. Let's go.
No doubt. Welcome to the Ready to Learn Show. We're going to jump right into it. You talked about best-selling author, Rocket Fuel. Can you just go into a little bit briefly about what that's about and why'd you choose the name Rocket Fuel?
Yeah, so I had a podcast called What Are You Made Of? And that podcast was really to expose successful people and celebrities and sports professional sports athletes to what went into making them who they are, the adversities they had to deal with, the uphill battles, the work that went in, and really finding out the ingredients that have gone into who they are, right? And so in doing that, I told my story on the first few episodes, and then I bring other people to share theirs. And I started thinking to myself, well, man, I'm learning so much here. And I'm really, my mission is that all people are unstoppable to live in the life of their dreams. And I wanted to figure out how in my life, no matter what has happened to me, how have I figured out that whether it's a setback, an adversity, discouragement, people hating on me, why did I keep elevating no matter what anyway? And what I found out was that I was taking all of that stuff that normal people would keep in their trunk and weigh them down and slow them down.
Right.
I was putting it in my fuel tank to be able to convert it into rocket fuel and become unstoppable. And if everybody could figure this out proactively ahead of time, nothing can stop you from achieving the life of your dreams. So I wrote the book telling my story, how I did that, and the lessons I've learned over the last few years with my mentorships that I've taken on with some very big, high-profile, successful people.
No doubt. Well, I salute you for, converting that your problems into rocket fuel. How were you able to kind of do that for some of the people out there listening that they have these problems and they're like, wow, how can I just convert it into rocket fuel to get motivated and to carry on?
Yeah, so first of all, man, let me tell you something. This is so important for people to get. None of us really know the absolute truth of anything. Like we can have, understanding of maybe if you're a Christian, the Bible, or, if you're a Muslim, you maybe, the Quran, or maybe you don't believe in God and you just believe whatever you believe, right? But nobody knows the absolute truth. So in that case, what happens is everybody's just telling themselves a story of whatever they can live with. And then they live with that story. And then some people are very, very closed-minded and stuck on that story, and everybody else is wrong, and they make everybody else wrong. So the fact of the matter is, if you're going to tell yourself a story, because everything's a story anyway, because nobody knows the truth,
right?
You might as well tell the story you want to hear, and the story that you want to live with, not what you can live with, but what you want to live with. I choose to be unstoppable, and I choose that everything that comes my way is for me, either a training session or something to use as fuel to motivate me, inspire me. And so that's how you do it, man. It's the story you tell yourself. What story are you telling yourself? Everybody should take the moment right now to think about, what story have I been telling myself? Is it the story I want to live with and as far as just get by and survive? Right. Or is it a story that I want to thrive and prosper?
Interesting. I like that. So you think that most people are just struggling with that story, finding that story that needs to be told to themselves?
Yeah, I mean, if they say they're struggling, they're telling themselves a story that they struggle. You see?
Okay.
So for me, any human being that's left to themselves, to their own devices, is going to default back to their default positioning, which is just to survive, just to get by. That's the way we're structured, right? But until you break free from that and start telling yourself a story like, look, I've been put on this planet by an all-powerful God, and I'd be naive to think that all-powerful God would limit me in my potential. So I think to myself, well, shoot, if I was created by an all-powerful God, man, I got so much potential inside of me, I have to go after it. I can't sit back one day because I don't feel like it, or if things get tough, and stop. No, dude, I got to go after it, man. This isn't even an option for me.
Right.
And so, that's how I roll with it, man. And I'm trying to get everybody else to understand that you are absolutely 100% unstoppable to living the life of your dreams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that. I like that. We're gonna switch gears real quick, Mike. Let's talk Blueprinted. You are the co-founder of the innovative tech platform. Can you just elaborate a little bit more about what you guys do? Um,
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I wrote some things down the other day. I was talking about like, anytime you do a new product or have a business, you got to work on your messaging, right? You got
right,
to figure out what's my messaging like. What problem am I trying to solve? What pain am I trying to heal? Right. So like, one of the things I was starting to think about is like, if somebody's confused or there's chaos, there's no like success available. You cannot be successful when you're confused. You got to be clear on exactly what you need to do. Right. So I was thinking to myself one day, in my life, I had a lot of confusion and I wasn't able to achieve the things I wanted to achieve as fast as I should have been, or for as like cheap as I should have been. Like I wasted
right.
a lot of money and time, relationships, stress, not knowing how to do something. But if you guys are like me, I'm hard headed and stubborn. And when I want something, I go get it,
Mm,
even if I didn't know how to do it. Right. But that cost me. So I thought to myself, since no one's successful when they're confused, what if I could eliminate fear and confusion and really clarify how to do things? Not a course, like watch a course and learn a course. No. Telling people how to do something step by step.
right.
Like if I wanted to make a 7-course meal, I'm not going to watch the Food Network and watch the celebrity chef put that together, then run to my kitchen and try to put that together. That's what course content is. There's a place for that. That's
Mm,
what the television for, entertainment and maybe just learning a little bit, but that's not going to help you accomplish it. We need to get results. So what we did with Blooprinted is we created a platform where experts that have achieved any kind of goal, any
okay.
business, great relationships, can put their step-by-step guide into the blueprint.
Mm,
Then people can come into a marketplace and search, just like Audible or Amazon. When you search for a book topic or a movie topic, you can search for a category or subcategory for blueprints of something you want to achieve. And then you'll be able to see all the blueprints that are available for sale. And you can buy one of the step-by-step guides, which is a blueprint to achieve it. And all you got to do now is take action and follow the steps. And
wow.
that's what we created. Nothing like this out there. Most people go to Google or YouTube. They have no credibility, whether it's good or not. Or they get a course and then they never finish the course,
Right, right,
and they're not getting results. So we stand against that. We stand against people not getting results when they pay money for something.
right.
So
So you guys actually take the time out to identify the experts in each line of profession that you do lay the blueprint for.
yeah, so if somebody brings a blueprint, they have to know what they're talking about. Obviously, we have an interview process that they go through. And then when they start to build their blueprint, we're building their blueprints with them.
Okay.
So we can tell if it's garbage. We can tell if it's, not going to get somebody somewhere. And obviously we care about the results more than the money.
Mm,
We need results because the money will follow. And so if somebody doesn't fit with us, one of the creators or experts, like it's just not going to work, But then
right.
eventually, that's the early on stages as we're building this. Later on, when we get thousands and millions of people into it, there's going to be a rating system, just like books. Like you can have shitty books up on Amazon or Audible,
Right.
but they have a rating system, right? So
Right.
people will be able to go and review and rate the books or the blueprints.
That that's dope. That's dope. I
Thank
like
you.
that. I like that concept. That's the first time I've heard the concept. That's dope. I got to ask this question, followed up by that dopeness. What was there any point, I guess, in your particular professional career that what made you want to start Blueprint? I mean, what was there any
Yeah.
can you pinpoint any particular time in your professional career that made you just want to be like, hey, let's start Blueprint?
Yeah, so I had a mortgage business. I still run with 3 of my best friends and my little brother and another lady that's been with me 10 years. And they run the day-to-day operation of the business.
Okay.
But in that, I was trying to figure out when I get new people in, how can I avoid having to sit with them and train them for long periods of time? How can I get a situation where I could just give them a blueprint and they could follow it? When they come in Monday, they know exactly what to do. They don't even have to think. They just do the stuff that's on the blueprint.
Right.
Tuesday comes, they just do the stuff that's on the blueprint, the steps, the tasks. That's all I ask them to do. If they do that and they follow it for 90 days, they'll have a whole pipeline of business. They'll be making money, relationships. So I thought about that. And then I started thinking, well, I got to coach people. I want to coach people and help people elevate. And then I thought to myself, well, that's good, and you can make money doing that, but it's not scalable. So I met a guy named Jared Yellen, who is now the co-founder of the 10X Incubator.
Okay.
And him and I co-founded Blueprint together after talking, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you can coach and all that, but that's not scalable. Like, you got to get into tech with me. I need you a part of this team, and we'll build something together, and it'll be infinite scale. And just imagine, like, we get this platform up, which it's almost done, and then we can get as many people as we want in it, because tech is, like, you can do whatever you want with tech.
Right.
And so he talked me into that part, and then we came up with Blooprinted, and then we partnered up with Grant Cardone, 10X fame, and he's a co-founder of Blooprinted as well. And we're just ready to rock, bro.
Man, I like you. You're rocking and rolling. I like it. And it's definitely going to hit, to the masses. It's very appealing. And I'm definitely aboard. I like that.
Thanks, man.
Let's talk about coaching skills. What dictates is if somebody is coachable in your eyes?
Yeah, so they need to want to be helped. They need to think that help is a good thing. Like, some people they tried to help people in the past and they weren't able to. So then they stop asking for help. They stop trying to help people. And they think help is just a bad thing or it's a lost cause. And really what they need to understand is help makes you more valuable. Asking for help makes you more powerful, more significant, more important. And asking for help isn't a bad thing. And giving help is a good thing. That's one. The next thing would be control. Understanding control is a good thing. Because when you're coaching someone, you need to let them know how to do something and guide them into they got to find their own answers, but you got to guide them, but also hold them accountable. And that's part of control. The more control you have, the more money you will have. But people have this warped sense of control because they start thinking like, look, like even we can go back to, and I'm not afraid to talk about any topic, by the way, but we go back into history of the United States, and there was slavery, right?
Right.
And that was considered a control. However, it was abuse of control.
Exactly.
Right. So then when people come out of that and we're 200 years out of that,
right?
People still think in their mind because of that the control was abusive, that control is a bad thing. And then they'll start saying like, you're not going to control me. And maybe a woman was in a relationship or a man was in a relationship. It was a controlling relationship because it was abuse of control.
Right.
So then they throw control out the window and then they're out of control. Right. But just because somebody abused control in the past, doesn't make control a bad thing. It makes the person that was using that control in the wrong way bad.
Very, very interesting perspective. I like that. So basically, when people hear the word control, it kind of triggers a bad experience where the control was abuse.
Correct.
No doubt.
Or they tried to control someone and they did it in a good way, but they couldn't do it because they didn't have the ability to do it for whatever reason. They didn't have the skill set, and then they just give up on it. Right. But what happens when you do that? Now you have people that think help's a bad thing. They don't ask for help. They don't give help. They think control's a bad thing. So they're not in control of themselves. They're under control. If you're not in control and you don't take control, you're controlled by someone else. So those two things. And then the final one is important as well, is communication. Like if you can't communicate properly, efficiently or enough and over communicate, you can't be coachable.
No doubt. So I got to talk about the flip side of it, which is leadership skills. Let's talk about good leadership skills. You have somebody that is coachable. What are the skills that are required to be a good leader?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, a good leader understands that they're not going to be able to lead someone that has a bigger belief system than themselves. And that's John Maxwell's law of the lid. It says that you're not going to be able to lead someone that has a bigger belief system than you, like a higher belief lid, right? But the other thing is that if you're not living to the standard, and this goes for coaching as well, by the way. Okay. If you're not living to the standard that you're coaching or leading to yourself, you're not going to be able to do it for other people. And most people try to do that. They're not even living to the standards that they're preaching and talking, and they're not living that life. It starts with yourself. Living that life, living to the standards you expect, non-negotiables, but also holding yourself accountable to things. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable to things, you're not going to hold anybody else accountable to things.
Yeah, accountability is big. Accountability is big.
And have you heard of imposter syndrome?
No, elaborate.
Imposter syndrome is a lot of times when people get into coaching or consulting or speaking, they get this feeling that they're an imposter. They haven't made it yet enough to be in a position where they can help other people.
Okay.
And the reason that they do that is because they're not living to the standards that they need to be living to be able to teach or promote or coach those kind of things. And so it's all about, it starts here and here. It's all in here first.
Right.
And when you work on yourself, you refine your engine, it allows you to feel confident to be able to go out into the world and help other people and elevate other people. One thing, by the way, Mac, I'm not going to be ever afraid to call somebody out on their bullshit.
Right.
I'm not ever going to be afraid to hold people accountable or call it like it is, because I know inside that I've done the work here and here that nobody's ever going to check me. If they check me, I have proof. I have receipts, so to speak, right? That I've done my shit.
Right.
You know? Right.
No doubt, man. I'm definitely feeling you with that. So basically, it all starts within.
100%.
It starts within. You gotta be A1 with yourself before you can even move forward. You gotta be in check with yourself, so to speak.
Yeah. Think about this. Like, if you got something in your life right now.
Okay.
Right? One thing is discipline. Work ethic and discipline. You got to check this all the time. I check it daily. Like, where's my work ethic? Where's my discipline on the things I'm supposed to be doing? And then the last thing I think about is, what am I doing in my life that I wouldn't want anybody to find out about? Now, a lot of us grew up in households with discipline and church, and hey, you got to do good and not bad, and you got to do the right things and all this stuff, right?
Right.
Don't party too much. Don't overdo it. Don't drink too much. Don't do drugs. Just that. A lot of it's because it takes care of your body to not do those things. But the more important thing is, some people say, well, if I'm doing this and nobody knows about it and it's not really hurting anybody, like, is it? It is. It is hurting, because what happens is, in our mind, in our subconscious mind, as we do things we don't want anybody else to know about, we may not realize it. It's in our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind will prevent us from being creative, taking action on things, extroverting, being disciplined, and then taking action on things. Because you're so clouded up and crusted up with all the things you're doing bad and you feel bad about inside, you really don't understand or know. Guilt, shame. And that's why we have to check on, make sure, where are we living? I'm not a moral police, by the way. Like, hey, you live your life. But at the end of the day, if you don't choose to do things that lead to the mission that you're on, and you choose to do things that are harming you or destructive instead of building, it's going to build up here. It's going to build up here, and you're not going to be as effective.
No doubt. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about your podcast. What are you made of? Again, just briefly, I love the name, by the way.
Thanks,
just briefly go into a little bit of detail again about why did you choose that name for the podcast?
Well, I got to a point where I went to a 10X Growth Conference in Miami at Grants back in 19. And January 2019, and I watched some people. I went with the intention of watching speakers because I wanted to be a speaker.
Okay.
I was doing little events, but nothing big. And I was like, let me watch these guys and see how they operate. Learn something. And what I realized was that all of them they were great storytellers, and they were telling their story.
Okay.
And the story that they were telling would connect with the audience. And I'm like, well, man, why haven't I been telling my story? And what I found was there was three reasons. One, I thought nobody would care about my story. I thought it was just like ordinary. Like, who's going to care about a kid coming from a broken home, being around a lot of broken people, abusive? Like, everybody goes, not everybody, but a lot of people go through that. That's not a big deal.
Right.
But I was wrong. Because
Okay.
people do care about that. That's exactly. When it's more common, more people can relate to it. When they relate to it, they care about it. That's one. The second one was embarrassment. Like, if you come from a poor family, you come from an abusive situation, it's kind of might be embarrassed by that.
Right.
And you shouldn't be embarrassed, because it's not about you. It's about the audience that you're going to speak to tell the story, and you can impact.
Good point. And
then the final one is, I underestimated the power of my story and everybody's story to inspire millions of people. And when you underestimate that, then you're not going to do it. You're not going to commit to it. So I started to realize, wait a minute, this is selfish of me. This is below my potential.
Right.
And now I got to go extrovert and get it out there. And so I started the podcast to tell my story and then bring other people on to give them the opportunity and platform stage to share their stories.
No doubt, man. So it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. The what are you made of, and to really just have individuals, share exactly what are they made of with their story. Dope. Let me ask you this. You hit on an interesting point about why, uh, and it was because you thought that your story was silly, or you're ashamed of it, so to speak. Nobody wanted to hear that. And I'm sure it's a lot of people out there that are listening now that are faced with that same obstacle, feeling like nobody wants to hear my story, and or my story's silly. What would you say to those individuals? And two, what helped you to, say, "Eff it, fuck it, let's go"?
Yeah, so I just noticed that when I heard people speaking on stage, how it affected me, and I'm like, well, I want to make people feel like that, right? And then I just take action. I don't think about it. Like, if I thought about all the work that went into getting to where I am today, like ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
think about all the work it's going to take. I just think about making steps towards it. And like my podcast, like same thing for you. Look, dude, I just started just one. I went on and did one podcast, recorded one podcast.
Okay.
Then I did another one. Then I did another one. And before you know it, like I don't know, man, I've probably done 400 interviews on other people's podcasts and over 200 on my own podcast.
Wow.
But I just started with one and another one and another one and just did it. And now I look back and I'm like, holy cow, I can't even believe that I did all this.
Right.
I can't even, it doesn't even, but I did it. But it's just starting. Just get started and take action as soon as possible.
That initial jump start to just even start the process. No doubt. I want to get your insight and perspective on something. It seems as if today everybody's grabbing the LLC. Nothing wrong with that. I want to speak to, well, how do you feel about the entrepreneurial space today? I guess I wouldn't say crowded. You maybe say crowded, or just quick to get an LLC. What's your take on just the whole entrepreneurial space today as a whole?
Not everybody's designed to be an entrepreneur. And it's just a matter of if somebody's willing to take the risk and go after it and be willing to fail and be willing to have setbacks and discouragement and tough times and deal with all that, because the reward is so great when you push through those things.
Right.
But I think really what it comes down to is whether it's an LLC or however you want to handle it, that's up to you and your tax person. Like I always advise people, get a tax person, not an HR block guy.
Right.
But a tax person, and talk to them about how you should set up. Tell them about your vision. By the way, so you get your tax guy or gal, but you have to have a vision of what you want to do. And you got to get really clear with it. So I use these 3 C's: clarity on your vision.
Okay.
Write it down, get it out of your head. A thought is an actual thing, by the way. A thought is an actual energy. It's something. Get it out of your head on paper. Write a vivid vision and get clear. Go to your tax person. Talk to them about your vision. From there, you want to commit to it. You want to decide that I want to commit to this. Like, I'm burn the ships, committed, all out. I don't care what anybody says. If people laugh at me, people like discourage me, say that I'm crazy, obsessed, working too hard. I don't care. I want to do it. That's commitment. Right. And then finally is consistency. I mentioned this already with just starting one podcast, do another one. Consistent action. No matter if you feel good, no matter if you don't feel like it, no matter if it gets tough, you do it anyway. That phrase, if you're taking notes, write that down. Do it anyway. When you don't feel like it and it gets tough, do it anyway. And if you do it anyway, you're going to do it when it's easy. You're going to do it when it's when you feel like it. So you got 100% participation from yourself. And then you do boring old consistent action. Chip away. Eventually, you don't even recognize yourself. And one last thing, be open to quantum leaps, which means you chip it away doing onesie twosies, whatever it is, the actions, but be open to something big happening. Be looking for something big and multiples to happen. If you do that, you that's like a can't fail formula.
Right.
So.
Right. Just people just jump starting, just even starting the process. But you said an important thing before starting the process, the vision. Why is it, should I say, that the vision process is missing from most people jumping into that? entrepreneurial space.
Yeah, they don't take the time to do it, man. Like if I was shooting a gun at a target, right?
Right.
And I didn't have a clear picture of the target, or I couldn't see, I had my glasses off, like I had my glasses on, whatever it was, right?
Right.
I couldn't see the target. How in the heck are you going to be committed to anything? How the heck are you going to be consistent with any actions when you don't know where you're going? Right. So it gives you direction. Like you get in your car, you know you're going somewhere.
Right.
You have a final destination that you're going to, whether you know the directions to that place or you got to put it in the GPS, you know where you're going. But that's the difference. So most people don't take the time, man. Most people don't even know what they want in their ideal life. If I said to you right now, like, if you could find a genie in a bottle and that genie gave you 3 to 5 wishes, anything you wanted, anything you want,
right.
Anything. When I ask that question to people, they should know the answer to that.
Right. Right.
They should know it. If they don't, they're not going to go anywhere, and they're living unintentionally. And when you're living unintentionally, you're going to be living under someone else's intention. Again, being controlled by someone else instead of in control yourself.
No doubt. No doubt. Can you speak to, I guess, surrounding yourself with a good circle, support system, just like-minded individuals?
Yeah. So one thing that I do is I have a mission I mentioned already.
Okay.
And then I have core values. And core values are things that give you a filter on how to think, how to speak, how to act, and who to keep in your environment and what to spend your time and attention on. And so my core values are, it's an acronym that stands VITAL, VITAL.
Okay.
Vibes matter, emotions are contagious. Understanding that wherever I go, my vibes matter, the vibes I put out, and my emotions are contagious. And other people's emotions are contagious. So stay the hell away from emotions that you don't want to be around.
Right.
The I is in imagine, no lids, endless potential. Right? I want to be around people that don't think like there's any restraints or restrictions. I want people to imagine, have great imaginations around me. T, take 100% responsibility. I want people around me that don't blame. They take responsibility 100%. They're in control. The A stands for all setbacks are rocket fuel, just like the book I wrote. Understanding that everything comes your way, it's for you and for training or for fuel. And finally, the L, no matter who you are, what position you're in, how old you are. The L stands for leadership starts with me. Leadership starts with me. I'm not looking to someone else to be a leader. I don't mind following someone that I see is further along in the journey, but leadership starts. And I said that earlier with you, right?
Right.
Leadership starts with me. So I just make sure that people align with those values. And if they don't, I don't spend a lot of time with them. Like I set it straight. I let them know what I'm looking for. And if they're not in alignment with it, I don't take it personal. I just don't spend a lot of time or attention on them.
Right. Are you a believer in law of attraction? Do you believe if you're putting out?
Yeah. Vibes matter, man. Vibes matter. Emotions are contagious. Like that's what that talks about. Underneath of that is that, whatever vibes you put out, people are going to resonate with those, and some people aren't, and that's okay. And the people that aren't going to resonate with them, you don't want them in your life anyway because they're not resonating with you. So they'll self-select out. And so you only have the people and the ideas and the thoughts that you put in your mind, allow to be in your mind and infest your head. That's the stuff that you're going to get. Again, it goes back to the story that you tell yourself.
Right. No doubt. Love it. Got to ask a question. What would you say has been the toughest obstacle for you to overcome? Like just being where you're at today. You got big things going on. Very successful. What was the toughest obstacle in your life that you just had to overcome?
I think the first one, and I don't look at them as any problems now because that's just, again, I go back to the story I tell myself, but patience.
Okay.
Having patience and understanding you cannot give birth to an adult. You have to give birth to a baby and it grows into an adult. I would say patience. I would say understanding that I need to work on myself and really lean into working on myself and invest in myself and spend time reading and studying and looking into my mind and understanding how my mind works. And now that I'm doing that, I'm good.
Okay.
But the other thing the opportunity I have for growth, I'll say that way, is that I have so much I want to do that I got to make sure that I prioritize the things that are most impactful right now.
Right.
And put everything else on the back burner until I get that stuff done. So
No
that's the thing.
doubt.
That's the challenge. It's not really a challenge. It's an opportunity I'm working on right now, specifically. But that's because I put so much on my plate on purpose.
Mm,
Because
okay.
if you don't overcommit yourself, you'll never grow. Think about that. If you only
Mm,
put on your calendar or on your plate what you can handle right now, you'll never grow.
mm, I like that. Plus, you never be hungry for anything else. You just gonna want that
Yeah,
same little
man.
serving.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? You might get all the stuff done because that's what you can handle, right?
Right.
But you're not
No
going
doubt.
to grow, man. And it's okay not to keep your word all the time. Like people give their word and commit to certain things, and I'll overcommit and then I'll try to over deliver. But there's times where you can't keep your word and you have to renegotiate.
Mm, mm. No doubt. No doubt. But all those, I guess, are those things that you learn just just on your journey.
Yeah, man. I learned myself, and then I learned from mentors. I put myself in a situation where, like, I have a coach right now. Shout out to Rich Dolan.
Okay.
Um, he works for the Lakers. LeBron. He's got 3 NBA championship rings.
No
He's
doubt.
good friends with Juwan Howard. Many brands he works with. He's worked with Steve Aoki. Like he's just a very connected dude, but a great dude. And he's a performance coach. And I work with him and spent a lot of time with him. I've invested in myself. And he's taught me a lot. Grant Cardone's taught me a lot. Brandon Dawson, who works with Grant Cardone's, taught me a lot. But not only them just learning, but I learned from them, and then I look back at my past and say, okay, where did I go wrong? The areas I had success. This is why I've had success from what I'm learning right now. And the reasons that I failed in the past or struggled is because of these things I'm learning right now. And I relate those so that I can learn going forward. And I'm still not perfect, man. I'm a work in progress. I'll always be a work in progress, man. And so will all of us.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, you named one of your mentors. Is there any other that you can maybe name that's played a big part in your development and as you continue?
Yeah, I think those are the three main ones. And then, of course, my experience, man. Like when I stretch and go after it and think big and put a lot on my plate, you know, that's a big learning experience for me, man. That's like my mentor, me. I talk to myself a lot, Mac. I don't know if you talk to yourself when you're by
Oh,
yourself,
most definitely,
but
most
but
definitely.
but the reason I do it is because I want somebody that thinks like me around me all the time.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so
Okay. Dope.
yeah.
Love it.
So
Love it. Let me get your thoughts on today. Of course, we're living in a pandemic. Um, have you noticed uh, while we're living in the pandemic times, people coming to you needing more a coaching or quote unquote feeling like they're lost or getting motivated? Have you seen the pandemic impact people either one way or the other on the spectrum, meaning that they're seeking some guidance, some coaching, or
yeah.
just out of it completely, just giving up?
No, I think first of all, I think not just in the pandemic, but look, even before that, there's always something.
Okay.
Remember, it's the story you tell yourself. So you can always find a story, something out there to hold you back if you want it, to cause you to struggle if you want it, to get you stuck if you want it. So yeah, look, I mean, it just depends on what's kept catching people's attention. Some people like let this pandemic catch their attention. Maybe they had a close loved one that they lost, or more than one.
Right.
And it's affected them. And they remember everything's something you let affect you.
Mm,
I mean, you could, by the way, you could have somebody die close in your family and like really just not let it affect you if you really decide and commit to. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just
right.
saying
Right.
you could do that.
Right.
Or you could have somebody that's not even close to you that died and get really upset about it because you decided to. Once people really understand is they're in control of everything in their lives. They're the source of everything. Like they control everything. And
Right.
so it just depends on this pandemic. Some people have allowed this to affect them. Some people watch the news and believe everything they see and hear, and they let fear set in, and everything's now guided by fear. If you're not in control, you're under control by something else, the media, the fear, and all that. So yeah, I mean, I've noticed a uptick in that more, I think along the lines with Clubhouse and social media is more prevalent.
Right.
And the more prevalent that is, the faster news can get out and people can get sucked into it.
Right.
So yeah, but I mean, look, over history, everybody's gone through this stuff, man.
Right.
You know,
Right. History does, in a sense, repeat itself. You're
yeah,
right about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You're right about that. You brought up Clubhouse. What's your thoughts as an entrepreneur on Clubhouse? Is it a great opportunity, or from your experience? From
Anytime
yours?
there's people anywhere, there's great opportunities. And just think about this for a second. When people go to marketing, they look for their target market.
Right.
They look for their ideal client. They look for their niche. Well, if you go to Clubhouse, they have clubs that are named certain things and they have what the club's about. That's targeting. The name of the title of a room is targeting. So you can find the people that you want to find to market to in any of the rooms or clubs in Clubhouse. And then while you're in there, if you just want to listen and learn, that's fine. Or you want to interact, that's fine. But you could also sit in the audience and then just click profiles and connect with people. And nobody even knows you're doing it except for the people you're reaching out to.
No doubt.
You know, so a lot of people see me on there. I don't speak a lot. I speak when I speak, it's when it's needed, and it's not just bullshit. It's real. And but behind the scenes, man, people don't. I'm like a duck on water. Like you can't see my feet, and they're just, man. I'm texting people and DMing people and connecting with people, like an animal. Like
right.
when I get on Clubhouse, it's like one of them things where it's like I'm not on there to relax.
That's right.
So opportunities anywhere people are and anywhere you can communicate with people, there's opportunities. It's all up here. What story you tell yourself.
I like that. So basically, you're connecting those dots while you're on Clubhouse. Now, just speaking on social media in a whole, has that impacted or played a part in just your business? Have you seen an uptick? Do you see, with everything switching to digital, so to speak, have you seen an uptick in a rise, just basically, driving traffic through your business?
Yeah. So digital, social media, all that, it's given me an opportunity to become omnipresent and known all over the globe. And that's an intention that I had when I first started my podcast. I'm like, how can I get known, not just in my state, in my local market, but how about in a region, or how about in the country? How about all over the world?
Right.
How can I do that? Like, what could little old me, man? Like, I'm a mortgage guy, real estate guy in my local town here in Maryland. How can I get known? And then I started thinking to myself, well, shoot, if I'm going to shoot for the globe, if there's aliens, how do I get known by aliens? I don't know if there's aliens, but how can I shoot really big and expand my think? So podcasting that came up, and then all the social media, I'm like, there's no limits. Social media and podcasting allows you to reach anybody that can hear you, that can get the signal. So to me, it's expanded the opportunity to get known all over the world and do business and build relationships with people all over the globe. So absolutely. Yeah.
No doubt. What's your spiel on the podcasting space since you've been in it? Are you seeing more people wanting to start their own podcast?
Yeah, I have so much that I actually, in Blooprinted, I have a blueprint that we're putting together. We're just putting the final touches on it now on how to start a blueprint. I'm sorry, how to start a podcast. Right. How to start a podcast from scratch. You get an idea, I want to start a podcast. What do I do? What's the steps? If I just follow steps, how can I get a podcast and do a podcast, become omnipresent? And so we put that together, and we're selling that. If anybody wants to DM me on Instagram, podcast, I'll get you the information on that. It's $9.97, but it gives you everything you need to know, all the equipment to buy, everything you need to know to start a podcast and become up and be successful.
No doubt. Well, on that note, Mike, again, can you let everybody know where they can go grab your book, grab a copy of your book?
Yeah, so really, if you go to Instagram, by the way, it's Mikey C-Roc. I'm Mikey C-Roc on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, Mikey C-R-O-C. And if you go to Amazon, you can get Rocket Fuel, but make sure it's my Rocket Fuel. There's two Rocket Fuel books, but that's on Amazon. And if you want it for free, you can go to Mike, MikeCroc.com/free book. You can get the e-version for free.
No doubt. That's dope, man. Definitely the free, take advantage of it. You heard the man here. Go take advantage of it. Well, C-Roc, welcome back anytime on the Ready to Learn show, man.
Thanks,
I
man.
really enjoyed chopping it up with you, man.
Me too, man. Thank you. Great
Before
job.
you get out of here, what are you made of podcast? Let them know how they can tune in and rock out with you.
Yeah, so you can go subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. It's under What Are You Made Of? Or if you'd like to watch them, you can go to YouTube at Mike C-Roc and subscribe on Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco on YouTube. And I put the videos up there so everybody can watch. And very soon, in a matter of weeks, going to Fireside, which is a new platform formed by a lady named Fallon and Mark Cuban. They co-founded Fireside, which is kind of like a podcast broadcast thing for your iPhone. So Fireside, go check that out. I'm going to be having a show on there, bringing What Are You Made Of over to Fireside.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. As you see, the man has big things in the works. C-Roc, much success, many blessings, my guy. You're welcome back anytime. Ready to Learn show.
Appreciate you, Mac. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir.